All right, this is James Donaldson, Standing Above the Crowd podcast, coming to you live from Seattle, Washington, 3:30 p.m. on Thursday afternoons, Pacific Standard Time. Today, and I want to give thanks, first of all, to my host, the platform that I use, Rainier Avenue Radio, right out of Seattle. They're generous enough to let us use their studio, their platform, their cameras, their producer. So I thank you guys very much for that. Today we are doing part 3 of a tribute to a very, very special person in my life, to me, and all the guests on the show today, Coach George Raveling. Coach George Raveling was a basketball coach, a collegiate basketball coach at Washington State University, where he got his big break as a major Division I college basketball coach, the first African-American coach at WSU as far as basketball. And he trailblazed the way for so many others to come behind him and mentored all of us and left a lasting impact on all of us here on the show today. So what we want to do today is give kind of some memories about George, memories about our time at Washington State University, and just really have a good time talking about those kind of things. So why don't we go ahead and get started with, let's see, who wants to jump in first and get started about some remembrances about George Raveling? Go ahead. Don't be shy now.
I'll do it.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
A memory that always pops into my mind when George's name is mentioned was about 1982, just before a year, I think, before he left WSU. Yeah. But we were playing the Huskies in Seattle, open up league play, and still fresh in the Cougar minds, maybe not in the Huskies, was that we had upset them in the Apple Cup. They had kind of knocked us out in 81 with a chance to go to the Rose Bowl, and we came back in 82 and kind of ruined their hopes to go to the Rose Bowl. Mm-hmm. So that was fresh on Cougar minds, and when we're playing over in Seattle, and after the ball game, which we did not win, we're in the media room, and somebody asked me a question about, how come you didn't win or whatever. I don't even remember the question. But one of my responses was, well, I guess we're a football school. And it just popped out. I had no thought about how it might affect George. So anyway, we come to Monday morning and we're getting ready to do our press releases and stuff. And I always go down and visit with George in his office. And this time I kind of went down with hat in hand and apologized to him. I said, I don't know if you've heard this, but it was in the newspaper the next morning, which made it doubly worse. And I said, I don't know why that popped into my mind, but I want to profusely apologize to you because it was not meant in any way as a derogatory comment to the Cougar basketball team.
Yes.
And he said, I did know about it. I appreciate you coming in. It's done. It's over. Don't even think about it. Good. And it never came up again.
Wow.
And it just, to me, is the kind of person George was.
Yeah.
There were other times, because I started covering him in 76, 77.
And Rod, why don't you introduce yourself and your title and your years you were at Washington State? Go ahead.
Well, I think that the only one that doesn't know is probably Steve Johnson.
I know.
Yeah, but I didn't get to watch you play. Everybody on here, other than Steven, was somebody that I covered or worked with. Mark Edwards, of course, was a wonderful coach here, and we had some good times together and some great wins together that he and George and the staff put together. Kevin Graffis, knew Kevin from, I think, the time he walked into WSU. If I remember right, Kevin, a little football and a little basketball.
Yeah.
No football.
Now, Rod, what was your title?
Rod,
I was sports information director.
From when to when?
1976 to 2007.
Wow.
So
Okay.
so
31
let
years. Uh,
me I had a rumor. There's a rumor. Now, I walked on, and I had a tumultuous senior year.
Mm.
But I remember we had my senior year, we had five point guards. There were Kenny Jones, Robbie from Indiana. There was Dave Neal, myself, and what was the guy that he left and he started with Roland Blackman at the University of Kansas?
Uh,
Jankovic.
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 Yeah.
Jankovic. So
yeah.
so
He
let me
left. Go ahead.
so at the Far West Classic, Kenny Jones got a knee in the
To the thigh.
thigh. He
Yep.
couldn't play.
Right.
Oh,
I
Uh,
remember that. I remember that.
Robbie figured I was the fifth point guard. Robbie was the fourth point guard. And he said, wait a minute, I'm not going to see no playing time. So I'm going back to Indiana.
mm.
Yep.
Jankovic, due to a little circumstance in the hotels, he felt that guys weren't taking care of his body. And he said, I'm leaving. So we're playing the University of Washington, and it was just Dave Neal and myself as point guards. Dave shot about 0 for 12, and I saw a considerable amount of action. Now,
Okay.
this is the rumor. All of a sudden during this season, and I didn't anticipate playing a lot, I found myself on the front page of the Washington State program, I think during the Stanford game. And I'm like, what the heck?
Uh-oh.
Now, the rumor has it, George rushed into your office and said, what did you do here?
Okay.
Can you dispel that rumor?
I don't remember a thing.
Oh no.
It's gone.
He's
I
pleading ignorance.
still have a picture of the program. And I'm sitting there because it was a shot that was taken at the University of Washington game over in UW. And I'm coming down handling on a fast break, but I'm like, what the heck? And the rumor has it that Rod, you told him, George, that it's his senior year. Why not?
Oh no.
Shortly after that game, I think Angelo was the starting point guard, and we all wrote the pie. Anyway, I know that was 50 years ago, Rod.
That's right. That's right.
Rod's pleading
You're
the
exactly
fifth.
right, Stephen. George and I bantered quite a bit, particularly on publications, maybe more than anything else, whether it was game programs or press books. I was still a little old school, and I liked the little 4x6 that fit in a shirt jacket pocket.
Yes.
And George wanted these humongous press books that everybody got a page.
Right, I remember.
I still have them.
And I didn't win that battle, as you might imagine.
All right, guys. Hey. Before we get too far into this, we need you to introduce yourself and the title of the role you played at WSU. Our listening audience doesn't know you. We know each other, but our listening audience isn't going to know. Rod Commons. Okay, what was your title at WSU?
I was the sports information director from 76 to 2007. Also, assistant AD. I think that came one year when we didn't get any raises.
Okay.
And to expand on that a little bit, when I retired from full-time work, I stayed on in the athletic department as historian, coordinating photography and doing a lot of photography for the new director. And just so you know, this is my 50th year of working with or for Washington State.
Wow.
I'm really proud of that.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Steve Johnson. Steve Johnson, you spoke up. Who are you and what was your role?
I came in 1974. I was there from 1974 to 1978. And my claim to fame, I gave James Donaldson his first 2 points.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Coming off the bench, I gave him his first 2 points in his college career.
All right. And the rest is history, as they say.
Oh, the rest is history.
Let's move on to Angelo Hill. Angelo Hill, who are you, and what do you remember about George Raveling?
I got to Washington State in 1976 as a freshman and had to redshirt 1 year and graduated in 1981 was my last year. So I was 1980. We made it to the NCAA tournament. Lost our first game to Pennsylvania to Rory Sparrow, which still hurts to this day. But that was a game we were supposed to win, but never mind. And my 1981, I was the only senior on the team, so I had to captain that team. We had a turnover of all the seniors left. So Terry Kelly left. Everybody was gone. Don Collins, Ryan Risen. They were all gone. Clyde Huntley, all gone. So we had a bunch of JUCO guys come in, Tyrone Brown, Henny McFadden, Ollie Johnson, Ronnie Joyner, and myself. And we managed to come last in the Pac-10. That was that was a tough year. That was a very, very tough year. Memories of George, how he recruited me was really an interesting memory.
From where?
I got invited to go to the Point Loma camp. What I can't remember what it was called, but there was a basketball camp at Point Loma in San Diego. And it was supposed to be Superstars, yes. I got invited to that. I don't know how, because I was living in Wyoming. I don't know how I got invited, but I did. And Marcus Johnson was my counselor from UCLA. I'll never forget that. And I was on a team with Kiki Vandeweghe. So they split the teams up with centers. And Kiki and I were probably the smallest kids that played center on our high school team. So Kiki Vandeweghe and I were on a team, and we actually did really, really well. I made it to the top 10, so did Kiki. But he was walking down the hallway or in the gym, and he just stopped by and was walking. He says, "Are you really from Casper, Wyoming?" And I said, "Well, no, sir. I'm from Denver, Colorado, but I'm going to school in Wyoming because my father lived there. But he passed away, and I decided to stay there and finish my high school career." And he said, "Does Casper have an airport?" I'm like, "Yeah, we got an airport." And he said, "Well, how do I get to Casper, Wyoming?" And I said, "Well, you either got to fly to Salt Lake or you got to fly to Denver, and then you get on a little plane to Casper." And he says, "Oh man, I really got to go to Casper, Wyoming to watch you play." And I said, "Well, I didn't even know how to answer that." But the moral of that story is actually he never came. Coach Edwards always had to
I came to Casper, and I have a Casper story someday, I'll tell you.
He was the one that always showed up in Casper, Wyoming. But a couple other stories is I cannot remember who we were playing. But I remember him taking his coat off and throwing it on the referee as the referee ran by. And as the ref was falling to the ground, the technical foul comes flying out. That was a good one. Warming up against Oregon State. That one there, man, I really do not know. We were like in the warm-up line. Next minute, he comes out in his nice velour tracksuit and proceeds to join the layup line and dunk the ball.
Oh, no.
Which we weren't allowed to do, in warm-ups. So we started off the game with a technical foul, playing the number one team in the nation at that time. I mean, he was
I remember that.
I
remember sitting in the locker room before the game, and he was saying, we got to loosen these guys up a little bit. He put on a warm-up uniform and went out there and went through the layup line. And the whole place roared. They loved it.
Oh, it did. It did. They just went hysteric. The Oregon State crowd just went hysterical. But I just remember how he prepared us for stuff that we didn't even know was going to happen to us.
Wonderful, wonderful.
You know, you're living in that moment when you're playing at a university, and a lot of people that are listening to this would feel the same way about their coach. When we're in the middle of that forest, you know, as I say, we're just amongst the trees. We don't see the forest. We don't understand why they're making us do these things they're making us do.
Yeah.
And then when you leave school and you get out in the big bad world, your whole life, my whole life, James, is, if it is to be, it's up to me.
Yes.
All of his stuff is just, it's in your head. It's just, it doesn't go away. All the coaches, Coach Puglisi, Coach Edwards, you guys,
yes,
all the stuff that you taught us, we actually live by. And we fall back on that stuff. I do all the time. I've watched the 1980 game on YouTube probably 1,000 times, and I just get goosebumps. That was an amazing weekend when we beat USC and UCLA. And I don't know, there's just how I live. It's all because of Washington State, my high school coach.
Yeah.
Those things are just ingrained in me. And I've tried to do the same thing, instilling the same sort of things that I was taught when with my coaching. And I've been fortunate enough to know to actually get into the coaching profession, and I've had some success with it. But it's just the memories of that, and then the memories of how we were treated. Like, that was the first time staying in 5-star hotels.
Yes.
I remember when we first got there, we'd have to have that dinner where we had to have a suit. Some fellas didn't even have a jacket or knew how to tie a tie, or why are there so many forks on the table? You know, all the little things that we learned about life.
Okay, Angelo.
Representing the school.
Yeah, I want to leave enough time for Kevin and for Coach Edwards. We got about 10 minutes left before I wrap up, and then we'll go into part 2, and we can talk about life after WSU for all of us and get caught up on those things. But Kevin Graffis, you are from where, and you played at WSU when?
Okay, I'm from Oakdale, Washington, just up the road of about 35 miles, and originally went to Eastern Washington my first year before.
Oh, he froze.
Oh, he froze up on us.
Yeah, and I always wanted to play for Coach Raveling. Cougar Cage Camp made a huge impact on me, not only from the different players that were associated with the camp, but also with Coach Raveling, and just listening to him motivate players motivated me. So went to WSU from 75 to 78. I did not finish my senior year. There's a story to that. I'm not going to go over that story at this time, but I do want to tell about all the hair that everybody had and the nice afros and everything. What I did was I decided, well, heck, I'm going to go out and get my hair permed, and I came to practice with what I thought was a pretty nice looking afro. Okay. Coach Raveling comes down on the practice floor, and he took one look at me and he said, Graffis, he says, you're still not going to play. So I tell that story all the time. And again, Coach Raveling meant an awful lot to me, even after I graduated. We kept in touch, meant an awful lot to my family. We had a large family of 6 kids. And he was always checking in to make sure everything was going well, especially with my father. And so it was a good time. A lot of great memories. Memories with James, of course, and Angelo and Steve. Steve, I haven't seen you since about 78. And
I've been siloed.
Yeah. So, but after I left WSU, I did. Rob talked about playing football. I didn't play at WSU. I tried out for about a week. I wasn't good enough to make the team. So I went down and played with the 49ers for a couple preseasons. So I guess I was all right. I had a good career in football, played in the USFL. Um, Sat down with Coach Rowling and showed him a picture of my playing days. And he looked at me and he looked at the picture. And I said, I probably should have played football. And he shook his head, yes. I did everything I could to please Coach, and I
Yes.
wanted to work. I wanted to work extremely hard. I felt that I did that. I look back as a former coach and also as an administrator over the years. I probably came in with the wrong mindset as a player. And Coach and I talked about that. I was a center coming out of high school, played with my back to the basket. I had a real difficult time trying to face the basket.
Mm.
If I would have sat behind John Preston a little bit more and learned from him, I was pretty good at rebounding, pretty good at defense, but I just couldn't face the basket well enough to play with guys like Don Collins and Angelo Hill.
Yeah.
So anyway,
That's,
I'm gonna pivot and pass to Coach Edwards.
oh, you learn
Everybody
well.
remembers pivot and pass.
That's
So
right.
Yeah.
anyway,
My man Edwards,
awesome.
my man Mark.
You learned well. You learned well. Coach Edwards, hey, we got about 5 minutes for you to wrap up, and then I'll wrap up, and then we'll come on back to it. Okay, go ahead.
Sounds good. Yeah, it's really great to see you guys. I haven't seen some of you, well, since I left Washington State.
Yeah.
I was there from 1972 to 1981.
Okay.
I was an assistant coach. I left there to come to Washington U in St. Louis, and I was here for 37 years and retired in 2018.
Mm.
And the memories of George, I met him the first day he came on the campus. And we've, stayed in touch all the way up to the month before he passed away. And he was a big influence in my life, just like he was in yours. And the thing is, we were all young, learning about our jobs. I don't care what it was, whether it was being on the court or whether it was in the sports information office. We were all learning, and including George. And we learned together and interacted and had a great time. And George was an innovator. Anything new that would come out, he'd find out about it and he'd innovate and he'd bring it in and put it into our practice. I remember one time there was depth jumping. It was developed by the Russians, where they would put a box and you jump up on it and jump down and jump up and do this depth jumping. And Kevin Graffis was one of the most dedicated, hardworking players I've ever been around in my 37 years of coaching. And so George introduced depth. He had these boxes built and all this, and he introduced that. And Kevin was his first year at Washington State. And Kevin says, I'm going to train on those things, and I'm going to be so good that, I can jump and do all this stuff that it's supposed to help you with. And he overtrained.
Oh.
He ended up getting shin splints. Do you remember that, Kevin?
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
Still have them.
Shin splints, and he couldn't even play for 4 weeks at the start of the season. He couldn't even practice.
Wow.
But George was a person that touched each and every one of our lives. There's no doubt about that. Yeah. And the people that I'm looking at on the screen here and the people that we have talked to over these other sessions are all people that at the time felt they probably knew more than they really did.
Yeah.
Including me.
Well,
and George. And he had a way of bringing out the best in you. And I think that this is the thing that I'll always remember him for, is that somebody, I think it was talking about that, Rod, you were talking about he forgave you for making a comment or this or that. George is one of the most forgiving men that I've ever been around.
Yes.
And, I'll give one quick story. And you guys, I won't use names, but you'll know who I'm talking about, is we had a situation occur when we had 2 players on the team who went to the press about George being unfair and being biased.
Mm-hmm.
And we had 2 television cameras in our office on the same day for 2 different players, both claiming a bias in the other direction. In other words, they were just totally opposite. And it was really kind of, at the time, it wasn't funny, but as it turned out, it was funny. Well, one of those players down the road, about 8 years later, went for a job with Nike, who George was very influential with, even when he was at Washington State.
Wow.
And he applied for a job with Nike in their sales force. And in the interview, they knew the story behind it all. They told him, they said, we'll give you a job. We'll hire you if you can get a recommendation from George Raveling.
Wow.
And he called George up.
And
he says, you got it.
Wow.
And he got a job with Nike. And this is the type of guy that he was. And I could give you several other illustrations where he went to bat for people. And sometimes those people didn't even know it.
Yeah. That's right. That's right.
I mean,
fantastic.
And his attitude was what he was going to do, whatever helped make you better in your life.
That's right. That's right. Well, hey guys,
hey James, real quick. Rod, I didn't ever thank you. But there it is, man.
There it is. Okay.
Rod, man, I have never thanked you for that, but boy, my family loved it.
Okay. All right. Let me do a quick wrap, and we'll come right back. But hey, this is James Donaldson, Standing Above the Crowd podcast, every Thursday afternoon, 3:30 p.m. from Seattle, Washington, live. And keep on checking with us. We got great guests every week. And this is another tribute to our man, George Raveling, who touched each and every one of us. We'll see you next time. Have a great day.